Welcome back to Getting Real, the show where we go beyond titles and timelines to uncover the humans behind the businesses and the stories that shape them. Today we're talking with someone whose work intersects innovation, public health, and one of the biggest crises of our time, Serguei Melnik. Serguei is the founder and president of Nutriband Inc., company behind AVERSA, the abuse-deterrent transdermal technology designed to make fentanyl patches dramatically harder to tamper with or misuse. He's navigated law, international consulting, U.S. financial markets, and now medtech, and he's leading Nutriband through major regulatory milestones, manufacturing expansion, and a pipeline that could truly reshape opioid safety. But before all that, Serguei has a story. Serguei, it's an honor to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for having me.
So let's start from the beginning, before Nutriband, before AVERSA, before the FDA meetings and manufacturing expansions. Who were you and what pulled you into this business in the first place?
I had a consulting business in investment banking. I successfully brought companies public, private companies. The first successful story was I brought a wine manufacturer out of my home country all the way to the American Stock Exchange. I actually rang the opening bell on November 3. And that was actually, incidentally, my very first company, my very first project I brought public. I took public after that many other companies from Russia, from Ecuador, from Moldova. I took another, pharma holding and a TV holding, media holding, but nothing was as successful as Sconi. So I was kind of semi-retired when I met my future partner, Gareth Sheridan, on Thanksgiving 2015. He showed me the company that he had, and I thought it could be a very good project that we could take public, and I just did not know how much I was going to get involved in that. And fast forward, so many years later, we had the IPO in 2021 on the NASDAQ, and we're about to bring to the market the most advanced pain-killing patch for the next 20 years. We're going to be the only ones who are going to be having that kind of product.
So you've worn a lot of hats, law, international consulting, cross-border financial work. Was there a moment when you realized, okay, I think I'm meant to build something and not just advise?
I don't think it's going as deep as that. I just didn't want to be poor. I guess I have to put it that way. So that's why I was trying everything. I mean, coming from very humble beginnings in Soviet Union and coming to the land of opportunities, it's amazing what this country can provide. So that's the only drive that I had, and coupled with discipline. I always go by the motto by the famous investor Ron, when he said that there are just two pains you're gonna experience in this world: pain from discipline and pain from the lack of it. So you're gonna have to choose which one you wanna endure. So that's how I end up here with Gareth. It was absolutely by accident. I met him in Vegas in 2015. But again, I found out during the years there's no such thing as accidents. I mean, things are meant to happen. And the project took much longer than we expected. When we signed the deal with Kindeva, the former 3M company, of feasibility in 2022, in January, we thought, this is it. Within a year we're going to have the product that we're going to file for the FDA, but here we go. We're 5 years almost into the project now, and we're very, very close, but it just, everything takes time. And apparently placing our technology on an existing fentanyl patch was not as easy as we thought, but it's doable, and during that time we had significantly improved our intellectual property. And with the latest updates, our patent life is being extended to 2045.
So you've been described as direct, disciplined, almost surgical in how you think. When you look back on your journey, what are the, core values or principles that you fall back on that have shaped you?
I think honesty would be the one thing. Most of the projects I did before fell through just because of mistrust, and somebody at one point or another, when things were getting difficult, or just giving in, some of the partners. So that was my experience with my previous projects all through my life until I met Gareth. And even though he was much younger than myself, we just clicked. And we went through extremely difficult situations. And at any point in time, we just covered for each other, and never one of us. So it was quite a significant, achievement to meet somebody like that. I was joking all the time that back in 1999, I made my first successful deal. I made $20,000. I was barely out of college, and with my master's degree. And with those money, I bought 2 bottles of cognac, very old cognac, very expensive. So I drank one with my dad right away. And the second bottle I saved until a very significant moment in my life, a milestone that would happen. I didn't know which one it would be, but I thought that in my life it's going to happen something like that, and it did. I mean, the IPO of 2021, October 1st, was that kind of milestone, and Gareth flew in, and we had a cigar, we're drinking the cognac, and then I'm thinking that, well, Gareth was barely 9 years old when I bought that cognac. Milestone. I mean, I never knew that I was gonna. When I bought it, he's born in 8.
That's great. Well, let's talk about Nutriband, not from a corporate standpoint, but from a mission standpoint. You're building an abuse-deterrent technology during a time when opioid misuse is still a national emergency. What was the moment you thought, this is what I need to focus my life's work on?
When we acquired in 2018 4P, I mean that was, and the IPO was not developed yet. They did not have a patent. They just applied for it, and it was significant work done after that. But at that point, we understood, because in 2014 the painkilling patch market was over $4 billion, and by the time of our acquisition of 4P, significantly fell through, just because of the CDC guidance and the cracking down on the prescription. So it was understandable, because the abuse was so prevalent that, I mean, they had to take action. Unfortunately, with those kind of action, I mean, the accidents have increased. If you look at from 2014, fentanyl, accident and death, I mean, significantly increased. I mean, there should be a correlation because of lack of painkillers that actually people can have access to, and those kind of accidents, because whomever needs those kind of remedies, they can't just go and switch to Tylenol, ibuprofen. It will not work. So if you look for remedies on the streets, I mean, you're bound to have very, very serious consequences. So we crunched some numbers, and the most actually telling numbers were in 2021, after we had the first call with Kindeva. We didn't sign the agreement with them yet, but they had a precondition before we would sign with them the feasibility agreement, and they will get in business with us, and we'll start experimenting with their patch. They wanted us to do a study. So Advanced Health did a study, an analytical study for us, and they came up with the numbers, and within the first years of our on the market with the patch, I mean, our sales would have gone to more than $200 million. And should FDA make a mandate, like they did on Oxycontin when they came up with the technology that you cannot crash the painkilling into dust the painkilling pill anymore, it will be like coming on a very sharp edges, so you cannot snort it, and that was mandated, that technology. If they would do that, I mean, the sales would go to 800 million, and 800 million at that point was the highest market. I mean, the whole market was $800 million. Of course, it's increasing then because they lack some rules. I mean, understanding that there is a very unfortunate consequences for those restrictions. But we believe that once we have this product on the market, that's going to be access to millions of people to a very significant comfort that they can have at any time without being worried that a child will pick up a discarded patch from the trash and accidentally ingest it. Like there are cases like that. We did a radar study, and it's absolutely tremendous amount of pain. You know, some people experience, and their kids have died from that. And so it's that the technology that we have is absolutely necessary. We've been talking to the Chinese before the war. We actually went to Russia with Gareth and visited one of the largest patch manufacturer for the painkilling patches. They don't have this problem over there, and they're very similar in their approach, because the prescribed patch will have to be returned before they would be prescribed another one. So that's how they control it, so that they don't have the problem that we have here in the US, where you actually sell it on the black market for a couple $100, a used patch, because there's so much residual still left on the patch after the use. But yet again, I mean, that's a lot of logistics involved, so we think that we can corner even Chinese market will have the patent already. Once we have the FDA approval here in the US.
So for people that are hearing about AVERSA for the first time, what makes it different, I guess, looking at some of the recent updates? Can you sort of talk about AVERSA and what came out of the recent FDA meetings?
Well, the technology is rather simple and with extremely strong intellectual property rights. We we have on the fentanyl patch itself, there is a coating of denatonium benzoate and the capsaicin. So a mixture of that makes it extremely unpleasant. I mean, you're not going to be able to keep it inside your mouth even for a second if you try. And the coating itself does not interfere with the drug matrix. So the patch is able to do exactly the job that it's supposed to be doing as prescribed without interference of the coating material. The only time the coating material interferes with the drug matrix is when somebody's trying to abuse it. And we have also a permeable layer there in between, so if they try to make a tea out of that or dissolve it somehow, the permeable layer will be dissolved and they'll be enjoying the fentanyl together with capsaicin, denatonium benzoate, which I can assure you is not going to be enjoyable at all. So the primary route is tasting route. I mean, it's smoking, tasting it, and of course, I mean, we addressed all the routes of abuse for the fentanyl, and we think we are very, very, very close to have the most advanced painkilling defense on the market.
Can you talk about the 505(b)(2) pathway and sort of how that's unique, only requiring one phase 1 trial?
Correct. That's going to require just for us to prove that there is aversive agents and the coating actually do the job that we are describing for the product. The 505(b)(2), I mean, this is an existing drug, and because we don't interfere with the matrix of it, it's exactly the same drug that has been already approved by the FDA. So we're working with an FDA-approved technology drug that is going to be improved with our technology. So during the next meeting, the IND meeting, I mean, that we're going to be asking for the permission to manufacture the first batch that's going to be using in the HAL studies, human abuse-liability study. And that's going to be the study that's going to determine if indeed the aversive agents and the coating that we actually placing aversive coating on the fentanyl patch does the job that it's supposed to do. They're going to be presented, the study is going to be very simple. We're going to have a room of recreational users, and they're going to be presented a generic patch, and they're going to present a AVERSA patch, our patch, and we're going to document which one they're going to be able to break in, and we kind of do know the answer. The generic patch is as simple to abuse as chewing it, and in order to break into our patch, you kind of have to have a PhD in chemistry. I mean, it's going to be extremely complex.
Well, let's shift to manufacturing and clinical development. You've expanded contract manufacturing through Pocono Pharmaceutical, and you've got 4P Therapeutics as a clinical engine inside the company. How does that work in terms of just scale, margins, control, and then the role in developing and the eventual approval path for AVERSA and future products?
Pocono is a separate subsidiary. I mean, we don't really talk about Pocono when we talk about the AVERSA. I mean, that's a totally different thing. It's also just related strictly to over-the-counter products that we have, like sports tapes. Like we manufacture a KT tape for Reebok. So the sports tapes, some of them are with the ingredients. There are patches, like we just got approved to sell our mosquito patches in Costa Rica. It's a very nice technology. It's been on the market for a long time. It's just nobody does it for some reason, where you would have a complex vitamin B that's going to be transfused through the skin into the blood stream and immediately become invisible to the mosquitoes. And when after we got approved in Costa Rica, me and my friends, we climbed the 2 mountains there, Uran and Chiripo. So we've been for 4 days in the jungle, and we didn't have one mosquito bite, just using our product. So it was it was a very nice experience. And besides, it doesn't have this unpleasant smell of citronella that you would have with other patches that we have on the market today. And it's, by the way, citronella, they do have this unpleasant smell, but you're still getting bitten by mosquitoes, because I used those before. So that has nothing to do with the AVERSA. We're not going to be manufacturing at Pocono Pharmaceuticals. They are not we have with Kindeva exclusive manufacturing rights they will have for the patch in the United States and Canada and some other territories that they requested. After the AVERSA is going to be approved by the FDA. OP is a tremendous help. I mean, first to have our Chief Operations Officer and President of OP is Alan Smith. He's actually the inventor of AVERSA. When we acquired the company in 2018, I mean, we're very lucky that he stayed with us, with the company. And he's overseeing, he brought multiple drugs all the way from scratch through FDA approval. Before, Dr. Smith is in charge of the project with the AVERSA. He's in constant contact with Kindeva, and he's one of the most valuable assets this company has.
When you zoom out on everything, the pivots, the consulting, the markets, the med tech, what are you most proud of?
I will be most proud of when we actually finally get the product to the market, because at the end of the day, that's the ultimate mountain that we have to climb. Once that is done, the first product on the market, then we can concentrate and increase the number of the platform to other problematic patches like buprenorphine and methylphenidate. So the good thing about the AVERSA, that's not a one-time use, not just for fentanyl. I mean, this is a platform that could be applied to any painkilling market, any patches on the market. And we have announced that in June that when we scaled it up, we have proven the platform application of the technology.
If you had one message to the world about Nutriband's mission, especially around reducing opioid abuse, what would you want people to hear?
I think the opioid abuse, I mean, that's something that is going to come in play once the painkilling patches become safe. This is our role in this world, to alleviate the pain whomever needs it. Anybody who needs those patches, they're going to be able to use them without being worried that their close ones are going to get addicted because they're going to be able to get high on them, or because somebody accidentally can misuse it, or somebody can have an accident and just ingest it by accident. So once we bring that to the market and we have a safe painkiller patch, I mean, I think that's our mission. So whomever needs alleviation from the pain will have it. In our family, we have one of my brother-in-law's cousins. A couple of years ago, before Christmas, he took his life. He lived with unbearable pain. Had kids. I mean, beautiful family. And the note he left, he just could not bear the pain. And that's unfortunate that there's no remedies that people can, because that's the only thing that would solve it. And unfortunately, fentanyl is extremely dangerous and also is the most effective painkiller on the market today.
One last question for you. If you were talking to your 25-year-old self with all the lessons that you've learned, what advice would you give to your 25-year-old self?
I don't change anything. You did all right. That's the thing I'll tell him.
That's great. Sergei, you're one of the rare leaders who didn't just build a company, built a mission that genuinely matters. I thank you for being here today. Thank you for the work that you're doing, and thanks for getting real. If people want to learn more or get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
I will have the website, nutriband.com, and there is a number. I mean, they can call at any time our offices, and we'll always answer the number. Most of the time, actually, I'm answering those. We are a very small company. We're very lean, so we don't have secretaries, somebody to answer our calls and make agendas. And Gareth are making it pretty much everything ourselves.
I can't thank you enough for the time today. I know you gotta keep rolling on with your day, but I really appreciate you being here and appreciate the conversation.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you so much.